Okay, welcome to the first 3 videos on the iGCSE exam. I'm starting with question 3, and that is because that is what I would recommend to start in the exam with question 3, because it is worth quite a lot of marks and they're relatively quick marks. It would be a shame to leave this question to the end and not have time to get these relatively quick marks. Okay, straight on to this question then. So as I say, 20 marks, about 45 minutes for this question approximately. You could probably do it in slightly under that. These are the assessment objectives. I'll let you read through those yourself. I'm not going to read them for you. Just a couple of things. In the first bullet point, explicit meanings. They're the obvious things that are found straight away in the passage. So it's looking that you can find the obvious things, the things that are stated clearly. Maybe that's a better way to put it rather than obvious. The second one, therefore, implicit meanings, is the hidden meanings, the meanings that you have to read between the lines for, the things that you can make educated guesses based on the text. And then the last one is just how you, whether you select the right things. Okay, the writing objectives. Again, I don't think there should be anything that you don't understand from that, and that is for part B, which is 5 marks. The part B and part A is worth 15 marks, and for that it's mainly to do with ordering your ideas, using the correct vocabulary, making sure you do those basic skills such as paragraphing, things that you should have been doing for years. Okay, so there's no marking criteria for part A of this, not a generic one anyway, like this one. You simply get a mark for each correctly identified point that is on a line within the box. This is for part B. So again, if you just look, it's just to do with, like those assessment objectives, it's to do with that it's focused on the passage and the question, that your expression is clear, concise and fluent, and you use your own words where appropriate. I'll come back to that idea of where appropriate a little bit later. So moving on. Okay, it seems obvious, but the first thing you need to do is read question A. 3A, it's normally in 2 parts, not in 2 parts, sorry, there's normally 2 parts to the question. It's one question, but there'll be a look for something and something else in the passage. So it might be look for instructions and warnings, look for threats and adaptations is one from a past paper. So there's 2 elements to the single question that you can find your 15 points about. You write them in note form on the lines in the box provided. Those notes must make sense, and they don't have to be your own words, so you can use a phrase from the passage. Okay. So if you're using it as a walking talking mock, this will be the first point after I've given this instruction, that you will pause the video and you will time yourself for 10 minutes while you do these instructions. So you need to read passage B and highlight the points that address the question. Don't worry about just finding 15, find as many as you can. Once you've found as many points as you can that address the question, count the points. If you have over 15, choose your best, and by best I mean ones that aren't too closely related, so you don't accidentally use the same point twice on 2 different lines, and choose your most relevant ones that you definitely are 100% certain match the question. If you have under 15 points, scan the text again, see if you can find any more. Also, check what you have highlighted and make sure there aren't actually 2 points. You haven't highlighted a whole line and there aren't in fact 2 ideas within there that are actually separate and should be on separate lines. And if you've still not got 15, make educated guesses. Do not leave a line blank. If you leave a line blank, you could be missing out on valuable points. It is better to make an educated guess based on the text than leave a line blank. Make an educated guess. The worst thing is you might not get a mark. If you leave it blank, you definitely won't get a mark. So it's better to make that educated guess. Okay, pause the video now and time yourself for 10 minutes. Okay, so if you're watching this through, fair enough. If you paused it for 10 minutes, I hope you found the points or made the educated guesses that you wanted to. So the next step is you need to write those 15 points on the lines in the box. If you do have really large handwriting, you might want to narrow it down so you can get 7 words in the line rather than the 3 that maybe you normally would. Use your own words or those from the text, it's fine. Ensure that your points are detailed enough to get the mark. So for example, in one past paper it said that a certain animal had very good eyesight. Now if you just wrote good eyesight, you wouldn't get the mark. It had to be very good eyesight to match the marking criteria. So it could be little points like that that make the difference between you getting the mark and not. So make sure you add the little details in there. Okay, pause the video if you're using this for a walking talking mock. Start your timer again, 5 minutes, write down those 15 points that you have found. Off you go. Okay, the next step is to organize those ideas in preparation for 3B, your written summary, so writing those 15 points up. So the thing you need to do is organize your ideas. You don't want them to really be in the same order they are in the original passage or in the same order as they are on your 15 lines. So the way to do this is group ideas that link together. There is a clue in the question, the fact that there is 2 sections to it. So you might want to link, say, if we take the same example that I used earlier of information and warnings, I think I said, you might put all the information points together and all the warning points together. I said also adaptations and threats. You might put all the adaptations together and all the threats together. And these will form your paragraph for part B and order what you're doing. So you might just write 1s down paragraph 1s, 2s down paragraph 2s, etc. Okay, so pause the video, just 5 minutes to do that. Order your points now. Okay, step 5, just double check the question for 3B. It should be the same as 3A, but whereas 3A said to make notes, 3B should say to summarise the passage. So you're summarising the passage using your 15 points from 3A. Okay, so the final step really is writing up your ideas. Spend 25 minutes doing that. Use your own words this time. As it said in the mark scheme, it said when appropriate. So if, for example, there's talking about specialist language, or it's talking about something that you can't think of a synonym for, a different word that means the same thing, then use that word. By all means, you won't get marked down for using the odd word. What it doesn't want you to do is use phrases or sentences from the passage. So if there's 1 or 2 words that you think, oh, they need to be together, by all means use it, but don't copy or lift sections of the text. Make sure your ideas are condensed together. Don't use unnecessary detail. Don't give your own personal opinion. And paragraph your orders and ideas. This is a summary, so really it should be in 3rd person. So that's talking about them or they, for example. You wouldn't
be in there. So it's not a story, it's not about you. You shouldn't be mentioning yourself, you shouldn't be mentioning I or anything like that. Also, normally they're present tense, so you'll be using is instead of was. Okay, so 25 minutes. Write up your ideas. You should be writing around a side of A4. Just one thing, I wouldn't recommend going on to additional paper for this. Try and make it so it's on the lines that they actually give you, or under. If you're going onto extra paper, you've got to think, why am I writing so much? Is this a summary? Is this shorter than the original piece? If it's not shorter than the original piece, it's simply not a summary. You might as well read the original. So make sure it's nice and condensed. Okay, so at this point, you should have completed question 3. Hopefully you understand how to approach question 3 in the exam. After question 3, I would move on to question 1 and then question 2.